The Porsche 911 has been one of the most recognizable sports vehicles in the world for more than 50 years thanks to its distinctive appearance. The 911 came to represent excellence and performance. The Porsche 911 has evolved into this model. Porsche made the decision to design a more potent replacement based on the popularity of the 356. The 911 kept the fastback design of the 356, but a stronger rear-mounted six-cylinder boxer engine was used in place of the four-cylinder. Almost 60 years have passed since the first model left the factory. There have been more than 1,009 models, made in 8 different generations. Although each 911 series has a unique internal code number, they have always been advertised and sold under the Porsche 911 brand. In 1963, the first Porsche 911 was unveiled. The rear air-cooled engine of the high-end sports automobile made it distinctive. It was far more powerful, bigger, and more comfortable than the Porsche 3.56 it replaced. The 911's 2-liter flat-six boxer engine could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 9 seconds. Although the 356's production cycle came to an end in 1965, there was still a sizable market for four-cylinder vehicles, particularly in the United States. As a result, the 912 was introduced in the same year to fill the space between the 356 and the 911. The 911 was considerably faster than the 912. Its top speed was 116 miles per hour, compared to the 911's 134 miles per hour. Porsche continued to enhance the original 911 throughout its production run, increasing the engine's output from 128 to 190 horsepower, and the number of liters from 2 to 2.4. The greatest vintage 911 of all time, according to many collectors, is the Carrera 2.7 RC, which was introduced in 1973. The 356 Carrera, which was given that name in honor of Porsche's triumphs in the Carrera Panamericana races in Mexico in the 1950s, inspired the creation of the Carrera. While RS stands for Rennsport in German, which translates as racing sport, the automobile had a distinctive ducktail that was the first rear spoiler ever installed on a production car. A big 2.7-liter engine with 210 horsepower powered the Carrera. With a top speed of 150 miles per hour, the sports car was far faster than the first-generation 911. 81,100 units of the original 911 model were produced in total. Fun fact: the Porsche 911's original model number was Porsche 901. Peugeot, however, asserted a monopoly on 3-number vehicle names with a 0 in the center. Porsche simply swapped the number 0 for 1 in 1973 because Peugeot was unwilling to fight Porsche in court. Porsche created the G model after overhauling the 911 for the first time. This Porsche 911 generation has the longest production run of any 911 generation, lasting from 1973 to 1989. In 1974, it was given a new raised bumper design with a plastic bellow to comply with the most recent crash test criteria in the US. Unveiling of the first Porsche 911 Turbo. With a 3-liter, 260 horsepower engine and a massive rear spoiler, it represented one of the most significant turning points in the 911 tale. The Turbo was Germany's fastest production automobile at the time of its launch. A few years later, the Turbo was even enhanced to a top speed of 165 miles per hour. The Turbo could travel at 156 miles per hour. Over 198,000 versions of the highly popular G series were made overall. The Porsche 964, the following generation of the 911, was released at the end of the 1980s. The car was drastically altered and featured 85% new parts, but it retained its original appearance. It had an automated transmission and 4-wheel drive for the first time. It had a 3.6-liter box engine that produced 250 horsepower and was naturally aspirated. The 964's top speed was 162 miles per hour. There were 78,008 Porsche 964s made in all. The final generation of the 911, to include an air-cooled engine, was the 993 model, which was introduced in 1994. Compared to its predecessor, it had a distinct design and was far better. Porsche claims that only 20% of the components from the 964 were carried over to the 993 generations. There has been a lot of improvement in the driving experience. Additionally, the 993 was the first vehicle to have a 6-speed transmission. The vehicle's top speed of 168 miles per hour made it marginally quicker than its forerunner. The 993 G2, on the other hand, was far faster and had a top speed of 184 miles per hour. It was the pinnacle of this generation's models and the fastest horse at the time, rocketing to 60 miles per hour in a remarkable 4 seconds. Only 57 G2 units in total were produced. Due to its design and the fact that it was the final version with an air-cooled engine, the 993 is still a favorite among many Porsche aficionados. A little over 67,500 Porsche 993 models total, all variants, were built. Fun fact: since 1963, the same plant in Stuttgart, Germany, has been producing all-horse automobiles. Porsche was having financial issues in the 1990s and understood that significant changes would be required to the 911 in order to keep it in production. This resulted in the creation of 1996, a brand new automobile that still had the iconic 911 design. In 1998, the 996 was made available. It was the first vehicle with an internal water-cooled engine. Porsche intended to improve driving comfort, therefore drivers encountered a new cockpit. The 996 had a more streamlined body and redesigned headlamps that some referred to as having the shape of fried eggs. The 996 was first available as a rear-wheel drive coupe or a cabriolet. Additionally, it had a 3.4-liter flat-six engine that could reach 180 miles per hour. But the Turbo S version could hit an amazing 197 miles per hour. Porsche produced considerably over 179,996 generation vehicles in total. Fun fact: Sally Mean the Monster, who portrays the poorest 996, may be seen in the 2004 Pixar animated film Cars. The 997, or the latest generation Carrera vehicle, was launched by Porsche. It had the identical timeless 911 silhouette, the restoration of the former model's separate blinkers and clear oval headlights, which many people preferred to the fried egg-shaped headlights of the previous model, was more notable. The 3.6-liter box engine that powered the Carrera basic model had a 325 horsepower output. The vehicle was capable of 180 miles per hour. With a higher 3.8-liter engine displacement, the Carrera S was a slightly faster version. The G2 was released in 2007. It was the first 911 to go faster than the 200 miles per hour top speed limit. Since it was initially available for $245,000, it was also the most expensive model in the 997 lines. Porsche produced numerous variations of the 997 to accommodate drivers' own tastes, including the Carrera, Targa Cabriolet, turbojets, and many others. The standard model was priced at $77,800. 24 different model variants of the 997 were produced in total. This version of the 911 also saw the maximum production. Over 215,000 homes were constructed. The 911's history was significantly altered by the 2011 debut of the 991 model. In terms of effectiveness and performance, the following generation raised the bar even higher. Despite being bigger than the 997, the 991 was lighter thanks to the use of a lot of aluminum in its construction. The 3.4-liter engine of the 991 Carrera model was smaller but more powerful to increase fuel efficiency. Porsche introduced cutting-edge technology, such as a base-level engine stop-start system that shuts off the engine at red lights. The Carrera variant is capable of 180 miles per hour. Porsche kept introducing new models to the 991 series over time. Porsche unveiled the 911 50th Anniversary Edition in 2014 to mark the debut of the 911's 50th year. There were only 63 produced, and they could only be purchased by Porsche owners. At Xbox E3, the 1991 G2 RC was announced in 2017. It was unveiled along with the release of the video game Forza Motorsport 7. Players can operate the vehicle in the game, and the G2 RC is featured on the game's cover. One of the fastest automobiles in the world, the sports car is a beast that accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 2.7 seconds. That's not all, though. The fastest production car laptop in the storied race car is the fastest 911 ever manufactured, with a top speed of 211 miles per hour. In 2017, Louis Kern set a new record with the G2 RS at the Nürburgring Norway Life, with 6 minutes 47 seconds, and in 2021, Blaze even beat his own record with the same car. Throughout its production run from 2011 to 2019, more than 233,000 units of the worst 991 model were created, whereas only 1,000 of this particular variant were produced. As a result, it became the most common 911 model. Fun fact: with over 1 million cars built over the course of 5 decades, the Porsche 911, in all of its variants, is the most widely produced sports vehicle in the world. Finally, the Porsche 911's most recent version, the 992, which debuted in 2019, carries on the 911's poorest 911's tradition. This model is strikingly similar to the departing 1991 generation. Like all 911 generations, this one is unique with a number of enhancements to power and efficiency. With a top speed of 182 miles per hour, the 992 Carrera is once more marginally quicker than its forerunner. Finally, the Porsche 911's most recent version, the 992, which debuted in 2019, carries on the 911's poorest 911's tradition. This model is strikingly similar to the departing 1991 generation. Like all 911 generations, this one is unique with a number of enhancements to power and efficiency. With a top speed of 182 miles per hour, the 992 Carrera is once more marginally quicker than its forerunner. The GT3 is more track-oriented than other versions and has a sizable rear spoiler with sizable air vents, a sizable diffuser, and 2 sizable exhaust connectors. At the Nürburgring, the 992 GT3 recently set an amazing lap record, finishing in 6 minutes and 55 seconds. The vehicle still has a top speed of 199 miles per hour, while being slower than the Turbo OS. Porsche has continuously improved the performance of this icon since the first Porsche 911 was unveiled in 1963, all the way up to the most recent iteration, which was unveiled in 2019. We appreciate you taking the time to visit with us. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to our channel to never miss another one.